Hello everyone, and welcome to the Student Sparks podcast, where naturopathy meets neuroscience. I'm Parker Malev, the naturopath.
And I'm Emma Johnson, the neuroscientist. Join us on this adventure as we delve into the depths of nutrition, nature, medicine, and the mind.
Where every insight sparks discussion and debate.
Welcome, everyone. We've been pretty busy the past couple of weeks, so we wanted to decompress a little bit, talk about what we've been doing, why we've been so busy, and give you some insights into what it's like as a student in science.
Just spoiler alert, it's garbage. It's dog water, but we enjoy the pain, I guess.
It's definitely difficult, but so worth it in the end, hopefully.
Is it?
I'm hoping
kidding.
it will be.
Yeah, full disclosure, I'm entirely joking. When you start asking me about the job hunting questions, that is when I will tell you that I'm not joking, okay? So Emma here is in Puerto Rico right now, which is hilarious because she's on vacation and yet she's closer to me distance-wise than she normally is, which I just learned because for some reason I didn't realize how close Florida is to Puerto Rico. Not important. I can do geography. Don't ask me questions.
Ask science questions, not geography questions.
Yep. I can answer them. I just won't. I thought Africa was a country.
What? That's okay. That's okay.
For so long. I think I was a junior in high school when I learned that Africa is in fact not a country.
Oh wow. You know what? I feel like that's not your fault though.
No, because I could tell you all the bones in the body, but I could not tell you what Africa is.
Well, I'm heading back tomorrow morning, but the past couple of days I've been snorkeling, I've been sort of exploring, walking around Viejo San Juan, which is like a historical little town in Puerto Rico. The most important thing though is the snorkeling. It's been so amazing. I've taken a bunch of videos because I brought my GoPro. And I'm going to compile them all, and I'm going to make a video. So that's an upcoming thing that's happening, a YouTube video where I walk through like all of the species and like cool fun facts about them.
Did you see a fish?
I did. I saw lots of fish.
You saw one whole fish.
I saw one whole fish and a couple half fishes. Oh my gosh. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. I didn't know I had nothing quippy to say to that. I had nothing interesting to say to that.
Well, I've been in Puerto Rico. Parker's been up to a lot of job hunting. She's been getting her phlebotomy license. So how has that been going? Has the phlebotomy license taken up a lot of time?
Yes and no. So the reason I actually took up going to get this license, because if you all remember, if you watched our first or listened to our first episode, I talked a lot about, actually I didn't talk a lot about it. I touched on it a little bit about job hunting for students. And if you watch our stories on Instagram, I remember now, this is where I was talking about it. I was documenting how I was cold visiting to these places and saying things like, oh, it's not, what do you have to lose? All they can do is say no, right? And well, they said no over and over and over again. And I got so tired of dealing with the fact that they would reject me before they even knew what I could do, just because I'm only still a student. I've never had the opportunity to go and do an internship yet. They need it. I mean, you need an internship to get an internship at this point. So I'm not going to go into a full rant about why this is such a problem with students, especially in the STEM field right now. But that's been my experience. So unfortunately, I had to shell out some money to get a certification to be just more likely to be considered for these jobs, because that's considered experience as a certification. Still, they're coming back and like, we need 100 successful blood draws. Where am I going to get 100 people to let me suck their blood out of them without having a job? So, it's been, I'm really enjoying phlebotomy. And I'm actually just about to start applying to actual phlebotomist positions. I kid you not, dude, I've been watching this hospital's open positions for like the past 3 months because I really, really want to work for this one specific hospital here in Florida. And they had the perfect position pops up on my phone. I keep notifications on for their job specifically. And it was a laboratory assistant for blood testing. And it was day shift part-time, which is impossible to find at this point. And I went on there. I was, typing up my stuff, ready to turn in my resume, and the page reloads.
Oh.
And it goes blank. And but my resume is still there, it just won't let me edit anything, and it won't let me submit anything. So I called them up and was like, did I do something wrong, or is there something wrong with your system? They're like, oh, that job was filled internally. I'm sorry. They were actually really nice
Oh
about it. I'm
gosh.
exaggerating, but like they filled the job internally. It was up for 2 hours.
Oh my
2
gosh.
hours. And it was gone. I think Florida has some rules about like an employer has to advertise a job even if they're filling it internally, just to, have like the equal opportunity sort of situation. But dude, 2 hours and it was already gone. Getting the license was really easy for me because I'm very interested in that stuff. So, and things like that stick in my brain pretty well. I would definitely suggest it if you were looking for a entry-level job because it's not very well regulated. Sorry, let me rephrase. The schools aren't strictly regulated. So you can have a class that's 3 days or 8 weeks, 6 months or 24 hours. What I've learned from this is that it doesn't matter how long it is. You just have to make sure A, it's accredited, and B, you have a good teacher who's actually going to let you do actual blood draws, not just on the dummy arms. And that's what I had. And I actually got to shadow with him at his job. He was an on-call phlebotomist. It was an awesome experience, even just like to learn what they're doing. So that's been the job search plus phlebotomy licensing experience. I'm taking my state licensing exam in the next month. I'm very excited about that because that'll push me a little further. And that came with the certification. So it was really, really nice. If I'll be able to do anything with it, that's another question. It'll be useful
Yeah.
later in my practice because the certification doesn't expire, but the license needs to be renewed every year. So I can actually use it in my practice, which I'm very grateful for. I won't have to send patients out to a blood draw place. I gotta know though, even though you're in Puerto Rico, you were getting right back into that heavy set of scheduled classes for the early or late winter, early spring. So how's that been for you, good and bad?
So I have 2 semesters, which is a lot different than yours, obviously, because you do like your 2 months. So I'm heading right back into the classes that I've been doing for the past couple of months. My favorite class right now is neuroethology. It's the study, like the neural basis of animal behavior. So it's basically the neuroscience of animals and how they evolved to interact the way that they do. A lot of things like predator-prey interactions, social behavior, and how this has grown throughout the past hundreds of millions of years. So that's really right up my alley. I love neuroscience of animals.
Oh yeah, sounds like
And
it.
then, yeah, I recently added on an anthro minor because I work in a lab with primates, and my the doctoral student that I work under, she teaches in the anthro department. So I thought I would just pick it up and learn more about primates so that I can help with her lab more. So it's cool, like evolution classes. There's a medical anthropology, which I feel like would be really cool because then we can talk more about like historical medicine, a lot of herbology that I feel like you'd be really interested in. So I'm really excited to talk with you
I
about that. I've taken
am.
that over the summer, so I'm really, really excited. So I've really been focused on classes. I want to do some internships. I've gotten a lot of rejections. I still am waiting.
Ugh,
Yeah, it's the worst.
it really is.
Um,
What about the one in Florida? Any word on that one?
Not yet. I don't know why.
No.
They're so bad at reaching out. So I'm waiting, waiting, waiting. Ugh, it's
We're
the
both
worst.
just waiting at this point, like for
Yeah.
something to present itself. That seems to be the common theme amongst even the most successful STEM students. Maybe if you are not that very top person, then they just group you in with everybody else. And that's the part that
hmm
really sucks. That really sucks because there's only one top person.
Speaking of classes, I do a dual, like 2 semesters in a school year, but I know you switch every couple of months. So like, what is that like? And like, what classes have you taken? What has been going on with all of that?
Oh boy. Oh boy. Let me tell you. Let me tell you something, okay? This is not going to turn into a rant, I partially promise. I do one class a month. So
Hmm.
like, oh, it's a fully accredited school, so one class equals one semester class. So if you look at the syllabus for these two classes, they're exactly the same. Mine is just done in a month, and that is done in 3 months or 4 months, however long a semester is. I don't even know. My semesters are 4 months, but it's four classes in that time.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really nice because when you get to a class that you really enjoy, you can focus on it.
Hmm.
But then again, it's only a month, so you only have a month to master the entirety of biology. How? I don't know. That's the thing I don't think the school has thought through very much, because I find myself, when I get to a class I don't care about so much, I'm going back to these other classes, textbooks, and just reading and making
Hmm.
flashcards and editing my notes and things. Because while I'm in it, I'm kind of just keeping up with the assignments. There's a midterm and a final exam, but they're 2 weeks apart. So the midterm is week 2, final exam is always week 4. Regardless, I've had a really good mix of classes. So I've done, the basics. I've done the bio, advanced bio. I have not taken chemistry yet.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Yeah,
That's lucky.
I know. I kind of gotten lucky because I can get through bio and other things first and then tackle chemistry. Um,
Hmm.
I have taken physics and math as well, and I'm not going to get into those because
Oh.
y'all can probably tell by the tone of my voice how I feel about them. If you can't, it's not good. I count on my fingers. Moving on. My class right now is really what I want to point out, though. It's my degree program is a bachelor's of science, but it has a focus in alternative medicine, and it has the equivalent amount of hours that you would need to become a registered nutritionist, not dietitian.
Hmm.
So my class right now is dietary influence on disease specifically.
Hmm.
So we actually go into what an ER, like pre-op, post-op diets, what a different disease state would require as far as food requirements. And then it actually goes into the interactions between nutrients and drugs and how somebody on this medication might need more support in this area.
Hmm.
It's a very interesting class. It's obviously very specific, which I actually really enjoy because in a month you can kind of just hone in on that one subject. When it came to things like bio, it took me like a month to master the Krebs cycle alone, if
Yep.
that's a good picture.
Yep.
So many crash course videos, so many. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying this. And we're hosting a wellness event, health and wellness event this Saturday. And I'm leading the vitals room, which is fun because
Wow.
it's not really a big deal. it's but it's fun because I get to do the blood glucose and the blood pressure measures, and there's an herbs and natural remedies room. There's a room where they're doing acupuncture. There's a room where they're doing chiropractic things,
Hmm.
which is funny because the professors are doing those, not the actual students, because we learn about those, but we don't actually learn how to practice it because that's not exactly legal.
Hmm.
I like what my school has to offer. It's just so quick. It's so
Hmm.
fast.
Yeah.
I know your school, you have clubs and stuff. And I know you're a member and like a board member of a few of them. What kind of stuff do you guys have over there?
Yeah, so I'm a part of a couple of biology clubs. I'm a general member of this club. It's called the BioSci Club, and we just do like fun science activities once a week. I'm actually on the e-board of the Biology Undergraduate Research Club. We call it Burke, but it gets confusing because we also have a dining hall called Burke. So I'll say like, I'm on the e-board of Burke, and they'll be like, "What do you do? Like eat lots of food?" I'm like, "No, I do research stuff."
Well, yes, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I help on that board, I help students figure out like how to get into on and off campus research. I walk them through emailing professors, applying, creating resumes, all that kind of stuff. We do a lot of panels with graduate students. We do like PhD panels and alumni panels, all that kind of stuff. And then I also recently joined a new club. It's like brand new. It's called the Sustainability Organization Coalition. And it's like just a group of people who are interested in sustainability. And we work to spread sustainable information and make our campus more eco-friendly. So, like, I personally proposed replacing our large grass fields that aren't used by the students with wildflowers and clover, which is better for local wildlife like bees.
Yes.
And that's just,
Oh
it's
my
just more
gosh.
sustainable, better for the environment, and also more cost effective because they don't have to pay
Yeah.
for manual labor of
Mowing.
mowing and fertilizer, and it's actually natural to our ecosystem, and grass is
Right.
not.
You want to
Yeah.
hear something totally infuriating?
Yes.
I
Always.
go to a holistic health science school and they removed a beehive, a massive beehive from a tree outside our building.
You're kidding.
And it cost like $3,000 to come get this thing removed. They did replace it, like they relocated it, but
Okay, good.
still, that was such it. There were so many nice flowering bushes and stuff at this time there too. So this was literally the perfect spot for them. The bees
Hmm.
weren't bothering anybody. Personally, I enjoyed looking up and seeing it every time I walked in. Maybe they were afraid it was gonna drop on somebody, but we have a master's degree in sustainability offered at this school, and they removed a beehive.
That's crazy.
Honeybees,
That's
they're
actually insane.
endangered, isn't
Yeah.
it?
It was
And the amount
honeybees?
that, yeah, it was
They
honeybees.
don't even sting.
Nope.
What are they
No.
gonna do?
I went outside and it was so sad. They were all like they smoke them, right? And the smoke doesn't
Hmm.
hurt them, but they're all like bah, like
Yeah.
sprawled out on the ground and stuff. They look dead, but they're like inching around. And I just picked a few of them up
Hmm.
and I like it was like I was so sad. I was so
That is so
sad.
sad.
It's you can't preach sustainability and then do something like that.
Yeah,
They also keep the lights on in every single classroom in there all the time, even though we only fill up about 2 classrooms during the time that we're there.
that's crazy. Even
It's
when it's like
really
bright
like,
out?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad. They do
that's just
things
like,
that make them more sustainable, but they're also
yeah,
not any better than any other office building in the area.
yeah. That's so
I'm
crazy though,
sorry,
because
I'm
like
not
that's
hating
not
on my
even
school.
cost effective.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I want to know
Maybe
like
they're trying
what
to
the
avoid a
thought
lawsuit.
process is. Oh, yeah, maybe.
It's probably just to avoid a lawsuit. That's okay. No, it's not. But you know what? That's
It's the best that's gonna happen at the
yeah. I
moment.
mean, they did it in the best way possible. They just paid a lot for it, and I don't really think it was bothering anybody.
Yeah.
Whatever. So I
Yeah.
think that our school kind of needs some of more your club type things where we actually do things,
Yeah. Our
where the
that's the good
students
thing
get to
about
talk.
going to a big school. Like you have lots
Yeah,
of clubs and everything like that. The only problem is those clubs don't have as much power because it's such a big school. Like what are they going to do? Like ask
that's
the
true.
vice chairperson for special treatment? Like no.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I just walk into the dean's office like, "Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Give
The
me what I want."
our
Kind of,
our
actually.
school has like 20,000 undergrads.
Oh
So
my
we do not get
gosh.
what we want, to the point where it's Earth Day and we're having an Earth Day celebration. And one of the events we're thinking about making it guerrilla gardening, where we just go around with clover seeds and wildflower
Yes.
seeds and just gardening
Oh
ourselves,
my
just planting it all
gosh.
ourselves.
Yes.
It's
Or
so
do
fun.
like
I did that in
potatoes
my
or something
hometown.
so it grows underground.
Yes. Oh, that's
And
so
then
smart.
they even if they mow the grass, you can't see the potatoes.
Yeah, that's so
You get a
funny.
whole field of potatoes. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, that's such a good idea. You should totally do that.
I agree. Don't
Pro
tell
tip,
anybody.
those no, no, no. Oh yeah, but we're posting this online for everybody to see. But it's okay.
They don't have to know. They don't have to know.
No, no.
It's not like this
Pro
one's gonna
tip.
go viral.
You know those big no. Watch it. Watch those those big old bags of beans, dried beans from Walmart, like the cheap
Hmm.
great value ones. They grow.
Hmm.
I don't know why I didn't think of that, but like those are the things that we put in those little plastic bags with the wet paper towel in elementary school. And they
Yeah, that was
just
my favorite
you
thing.
can just sprawl them. Just
Oh yeah.
load up, load whoa, just toss them everywhere.
Hmm.
Okay, moving on.
From illegal guerrilla gardening.
Sorry.
Let's shift gears a little bit. I know we're all focused on school activities, classes, everything like that.
Always.
Always. It's always classes. It's always schoolwork. What about hobbies? Like, what have you been doing to fill the time that's not schoolwork?
My garden has been doing fantastic. It's been
Hmm.
doing so well. I did actually just get um a letter in the mail that said I'm in violation of the HOA code, bylaws, whatever. So I'm dealing with that. So that's become kind of a hobby, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways, I make tortillas now for some reason
Oh, wow.
because I figured out how to make the same amount of flour turn into like a ton of tortillas instead of one loaf of bread.
Hmm.
They're really good. Okay, that's not a hobby. What am I see, this is the problem
I
I've
feel
been
like that's a
experiencing.
hobby.
Is it?
Cooking? Yeah.
I cook to survive though. Like, is it a hobby if I have to do it to live? So I'm really sick and tired of cooking to survive. Can you stay home and be the housewife now, please? Yay!
Yay!
That's my husband's response is just yay. How do you feel about that, bub?
Great.
He feels great. Anyways, as for hobbies I don't need to do to survive, oh my gosh, I've lost all sense of identity. What do I do, Emma? What do I do? I don't know.
Have you
What?
been working out?
No, because our car broke down and I can't go
What?
to the gym.
No.
The P rocket. Its transmission is shot completely.
Oh, that is
So
sad.
I can't really drive anywhere until we get the car back. I'm seriously trying to think of what I do. I'm actually struggling.
Do you like reading?
No, I read what I have to. And then when I actually pick up a book that I've been excited to read, it becomes a task. And I
Hmm.
choose, yo, okay. I figured out another hobby that I have, and y'all are not allowed to make fun of me, but I enjoy the occasional dabbling in Fortnite.
Oh,
You're
that's
not
a
allowed to make fun of
throwback.
me. It
That
is
is such a
so much.
throwback.
Okay, they got rid of the building feature. This is not about healthcare at all, but it's mental health because I enjoy it. It makes me happy.
Yes.
Except for when I rage and pound on the desk, you know. Yeah. So my hobbies have been consisting of reading textbooks from previous classes, cooking, gardening, exercising when I can, because I do love weightlifting still, and Fortnite.
Oh yeah. The
Fortnite.
trifecta. More like
That's like
fourfecta.
quadfecta,
Quadfecta. Quadfecta.
quadfecta. What about you? Just let's move past whatever disaster that was. What have you been? What hobbies do you have? Anything changed?
I mean, I like reading. I really like analyzing my books, so get little post-it notes and put in like little make that face at me. I love reading. I love learning about things that I can't learn about in class. Because it's like there's so much to know. It's like I don't know if you've heard of the phrase Umberto Eco's library, but like Umberto Eco's this dude with
Nope.
a yeah, with a really big library. And he talks about how like the more books he gets, the more he realizes that there's so much that he doesn't know and so much that he doesn't have. And I feel that a lot when taking classes. I'm learning so much, but it just reminds me that there's so much to still learn. So I like reading, trying to get closer and closer to that end goal, even though it's impossible.
All right, you like reading. It's very
Yep.
cool.
Yep. I love
Moving
reading.
on. Moving on.
I like doing cool things too. I work out as well. I'm cool like that. I work out too.
You're a gym bro.
Yeah, I'm such a gym bro. It's so bad.
She's one of the gym
I,
bros, guys.
I have a problem with every time I go past a reflective service, I feel the need to flex. It's
Yes,
a
but it's not
problem.
just flexing, right? It's the tricep
Yeah,
flex specifically
yeah,
because it's like
yeah,
subtle.
yeah. I
Yep.
mean, sometimes
Yep.
I do the bicep flex, but usually
Really?
it's my back because I don't have
Huh?
huge biceps, but my back is great.
It's probably from all that rock climbing.
I actually haven't been rock climbing a lot recently.
For reference, Emma and I used to rock climb together. I think I only went with her like twice, but you know what? For the sake of things, I'm gonna say that we used to be rock climbing buddies.
Oh yeah, but sadly, school takes over everything.
It kind of does. It kind of does. Don't go into STEM unless you're ready to give up everything for STEM. I'm sorry, that's a bad
Yeah,
statement. I'm rolling off the bad statements today.
it's okay. They need to know. They need to know the truth.
Yeah, STEM fields are notoriously difficult, but they're not impossible. And if
Hmm.
anybody tells you that going into STEM is going to ruin another certain aspect of your life, they're wrong. They just don't know how to balance it. I am that person. I don't know how to balance things, so I go to extremes. So if I make an extreme statement, that's not. I don't necessarily mean it. It's just probably what I'm dealing with. I'm dang it, compartmentalizing things quite a bit.
Hmm.
An example of such is I actually had a professor, he's a great professor. I had a few problems with him, but he actually told me that if I went to medical school, it would destroy my marriage. And he went on
Uh,
this huge rant of like, don't expect your relationships to last, whoever you are. You specifically, because I married young, obviously, so he was really honing in on it. And then I get a text from a friend of mine in the same class and said that he actually got divorced in medical school. So it seems almost as if
ooh,
he's, internalizing
yep,
that kind of problem and spewing it. Not, yeah.
yeah.
Well, no, he was spewing it. It was harsh. It was real harsh.
If you are
So
interested,
yeah,
if you are
sorry.
interested in like being able to create a balance and everything, like our last podcast was so good about that. We interviewed
Oh yeah.
Dr. Labonte, who has her MD. She went through medical school. Her marriage survived. She has 4 kids and she's doing fantastic. Her own
Oh
business
yeah.
and everything.
Definitely go listen to that one. That was I've actually been able to hear back from a lot of friends and family that listen, and they did say that that was one of their favorites.
Good.
Anyways, my point with that is just saying if you have somebody who has gone through, if you look up to someone, say you're shadowing a doctor and they tell you don't become a doctor unless you want to have no social life. That might be true for like a little fraction of your time, but it's all dependent on the choices you make. If you choose to
Hmm.
go the route where, if you want to have a family and kids, but you also want to be a doctor, like with Dr. Levante, she specifically chose, okay, I'm going to focus on my career right now. My family is still a goal and of high importance to me, but I'm just going to shift the time in which it happens.
Hmm.
If somebody tells you an extreme of something like, oh, this isn't going to work out, it's just because they haven't done it a different way. They haven't seen a different outcome in their own life. So it's a way of internalizing and then deflecting it outwards. Because I'm
Yeah.
still going to medical school. I have full confidence that it's not going to destroy my marriage. Could it? Anything's possible, but I'm not internalizing that pain like he did.
Hmm. I think like the biggest takeaway from this, and actually the entire episode, is that we are both very busy. We are taking
Mm.
lots of classes. We are always doing things that further our career because we love it. But we also have time for other things. Both of us are in happy, successful relationships, long term relationships. Both of us have hobbies. We're doing this podcast. We spend time on other things. We spend time with each other, which is social life. I'm in Puerto Rico right now, which is getting out and doing something for my break. It's all about being able to create time. And it's not impossible to do that, even if you're going into
No,
a STEM field, even though people tell you it is.
right. And then figuring out, can I sacrifice a little bit of my studying time right now to go out and enjoy this thing? Is it going to
Hmm.
kill me if I don't do this right now? And sometimes
Hmm.
sometimes you do need to sacrifice those outside more fun things per se in order to reach that goal, but you can't tell yourself that you're always going to be doing that because you're not. it might require a period of intense work. Because I know, I mean, Emma, throughout her entire school period, she's working, day and night, but then she gets to go to Puerto Rico, gets to enjoy herself. Again, I'm still dragging her back here for this episode during her nice vacation time, but that's a perfect example of why it's important to, I kept struggling with, like, I'm forgetting who I am because I don't have hobbies anymore, but I got to remember that I love what I'm doing, and it'll feel like a hobby that's just making me money, if that makes any sense. It eventually becomes that. Or you find out you don't like it and you prefer these other things that make you happy, and then you transition to that if you can. Obviously, not everybody's able, but don't internalize everything you hear. Experience is always king when it comes to emotions and feelings.
Yeah, I think that's really important to remember, that you will have to make sacrifices, but it's not that you're losing who you are, it's that you're discovering a new part of who you are. And that's STEM in this case.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. That being said, we do have some great episodes in the making. I do know that, this week was a little bit special because we just wanted to be able to chat and catch up and, make some general updates about our life. And because we're still students, right? We're not we're not full-time researchers, we're not PhDs, neither of us are working full-time careers, but this is an important part of life. This is an important part of being a student and still a person. So with that being said, we do have plenty of good episodes in the making. Emma, I know you're excited about this one. Tell them about this one.
I'm really excited for possibly an episode about evolutionary medicine, because I feel like it just brings together the two of our fields really well. So talking about how herbs have evolved to impact our body in certain ways, and how our body has evolved to interact with things differently, and adapted and changed, because we're always adapting and changing. And it's really important to understand that when we're talking about how to treat diseases, we have to understand why our body acts the way that it does to get at more of a root cause for disease. Obviously, there's not always a root cause, but it can help us understand better.
Or, help you to see the whole picture of something instead of nitpicking,
Yeah. Another really interesting one that Parker might take a little bit more of a lead on, because I don't have as much time, but we're thinking of doing a foraging episode.
I'm really excited to talk about foraging specifically, because there's a lot of books published that I read when I was little about eating your yard and like eating weeds, and I was an odd child, so I saw eating weeds, and in my mind it equated to like, oh, eating gross things, eating bugs, eating weird stuff, and it became a bit of a childhood obsession of mine. But I had to actually learn from these books what you can and cannot do when it comes to foraging. I landed myself in the ER after eating a random vine off of the schoolyard playground. To this day, I have no idea what that plant was, but I looked at it and I swear I thought, I was like, oh, this look like grapes. I'm gonna eat that. I didn't eat the berry, I ate the leaves. Which is, thank goodness I didn't eat the berries, because they probably would have had to pump my stomach. I was fine, but it was kind of like food poisoning-esque symptoms. But good gracious. Foraging is a lot more dangerous than what people make it out to be. Like, everybody seems to know that mushrooms are terrifying, but when you see leaves and tree bark and little flowers, you're like, oh, those are so innocent. Like, no, you will still land yourself in a hospital. So even if you know that dandelions are good for you, per our I don't know, a few episodes ago, you can't just go out and eat weeds.
A bunch of dandelions.
Yeah,
just like random.
Pretty easy, but like, no, especially if you're in a more tropical area. I swear the tropics just want to kill you. Yeah, so that's it from us this week.
If you're interested in more of what we do, a really good episode to look at if you haven't watched it is our first episode, where we talk specifically about what we're studying and what our future goals are. So if you're curious about that and you heard this episode and are like, oh, what are they going into? Check that one out. If you want to learn more about how to make your life still livable while in the STEM field, check out our past episode with Dr. Labonte. That one was really good. And if you want to prep for the foraging episode, check out the dandelion one. That one was amazing. I loved that episode.
Yes, and on our Instagram, I try to do weekly mini videos, mini informational videos about different herbs and spices and their traditional and current day uses, because those usually are different, but they're pretty cool. It's really cool to look back on traditional uses and what people thought they were used for. That's it from us today. Stay tuned for more. We got a lot more coming.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. We had so much fun creating this episode, and we hope you enjoy it as much as we do.
If you'd like to learn more, follow us on Instagram at studentsparks.ep, where we'll post all kinds of information and episode updates.
Don't forget to check in every other week to learn more about what it is like to be a student of neuroscience
and naturopathy.